Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of Meet the. I'm Troy Rawlings, and today we have this beautiful. I'm gonna keep it. Regular because I've known her for years. This beautiful, wonderful, amazing teacher, counselor, entrepreneur, philanthropist. Um, the wonderful, amazing Miss Jacqui Cummings. How are you, Jacqui?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. The laughter is all the stuff. She's known me. Jackie's known me, and I have to give props and roses and all that stuff right now. Jacqui has. We've known each other. I think almost 20 years. Yeah, it was about 17 years ago when I think I first met Jacqui. We were doing the Taboo Talk tour with my partner Yonder, and yeah, I think it was about 20 years ago when we met, and it was Notre Maison. I got to give you props because Jackie's one of the most, like I said, she's one of the dopest women on the planet to me. But it's not just because she's drop dead gorgeous. It's because, and it's because inside and out, she always had. She just wanted to help. She was a business owner. She owned a venue and she literally wanted to help, and she was like, whatever you want to do. She was one of, I can't lie, a lot of people in Baltimore is a beautiful city. Baltimore is called Charm City for a reason. If I don't know all the negative things that people hear about Baltimore. Jackie's a Baltimore native like myself, but Baltimore is Charm City for a reason. Baltimore is a beautiful city, and people who love the city know about the community of Baltimore, and a lot of times it gets a bad rap for some of the things, but Jacqui is a part of that community that believes in helping people. And it has spilled over into her business, her life, her love, her children. Her daughters are beautiful and wonderful and still doing the same thing. So, yeah, I just had to give you some props before we get underway while you're still on this planet, even though you ain't going away for a while. You look like you're 12. I mean, 20, 24 or something.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
So, what's new? What's going on? And I gave him a little background, but where are you originally from?
I'm from Northwest Baltimore. I grew up in Northwest Baltimore. Um, Born in Jessup, Howard County area, where chickens still cross the road. and when I was born, we did not have running water in our house. And my mom, yeah, my mom and my dad, they toughed it out for a while, and then divorced, and my mom moved us to Baltimore.
Hmm. How was that? How old were you when you moved to Baltimore?
Three. We
Oh,
moved,
okay.
actually moved to Cherry Hill, and we
Oh,
stayed
I
there.
didn't.
Right, that's something a lot of people had no clue. We actually moved to Cherry Hill. We stayed there. I think it was less than a year. And my mom was like, no. And she moved us to.
Hey, my terra firma, my grandmother, the Rawlings family, born and bred, well, Carroll County in Cherry Hill, but we got love for Cherry Hill.
I absolutely, absolutely. It just wasn't, and my
Feasible
mom's,
for a mother and two girls. And how many of y'all was it?
at that time it was three.
Mm,
So we quickly moved to the city, and we've been in Baltimore since.
okay. So you coming to Baltimore education. When did you know you wanted to, or let me say this, what was your first desired profession? What did you know? Did you know you wanted to be something like a teacher or counselor when you were young? What did you want to be when you were a little girl?
Woo, honey. So I originally wanted to be an attorney because
An attorney.
mhm, my
Okay.
mom had a friend, and I saw him not too long ago, less than a year ago. My mom had a friend. He was just a good friend of the family, and he would come to the house. He always wore a gray suit. Gray was his color. He drove a gray Porsche. He had a gray poodle named Stephanie. He
Why am I scared to ask you? Because was he a lawyer?
Yes.
Why am I scared to ask you his name? Because especially if she met him in Cherry Hill, I know exactly who you're talking about. If she met him in Cherry Hill.
No, this was
Oh, okay.
we didn't, I don't even know if we stayed in Cherry Hill long enough to meet anybody.
Right.
But this was I was in high school at this point.
Okay.
And he drove a great Cadillac, and he lived in Randallstown when, us people did not live in Randallstown. So he lived in this big house there, and I was so enamored by all of his grandeur that I wanted to be an attorney. So I actually went to Morgan to study political science in hopes of transferring to University of Baltimore to become to the law school. Honey, when I got partly through that and had to take all of those history classes, I said, this is not for me. So, and then I started, really getting to know myself as an adult. I got married. I met my husband. I got married. We had our first child, and I realized that being an attorney wasn't the desired career path that I wanted to take anymore. So I did not. So then I became a bounty hunter.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Now you gotta. Is this pre-locks? Because you had your locks a while. Is this pre-locks?
Yeah. Did I have my locks then? No, I didn't. Yes, this was.
Gotta send me the bounty.
This was pre-locks.
If I was taping, I'd tell the guys, pause, cut. You got any bounty hunter pictures? You gotta send me a bounty hunter picture. You in a bounty hunter, a black ninja outfit, looking like a superhero. Unless you just totally fooled and modeled up with glasses and stuff. It's like, hey, how are you? Gotcha. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. Because I would put on, for one, I already look very young. Okay. So imagine me 30 years ago when I was in my early 20s and I looked much younger. So I would call them and I would go up to them like, hey, how you doing? Hey, Tone. Hey, Troy, how you?
He's like, hey, Doll the bounty hunter.
Yes. Next thing you know, my guys are coming up on the side with, like, come on, dude, you got a warrant for your arrest. So it was quite interesting.
See, that's why I like to do rest in peace, Larry King. That's why I like to do Larry King. I've known her all these years and didn't know one day I could have been flirting and we talking and stuff, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, Jacqui, what's going on? These guys with you? They all with me, Troy. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
That day you supposed to record. No, I don't. Wow. Then his name was hot in the streets. Like, yo, there's this one chick, yo, watch out.
Let me tell you, it was so funny because one guy I took him downtown to turn him in, and one of the police officers got really smart with me. Right, Troy, where are you? Oh, okay, your phone.
Yeah.
So one of the police
people try to interrupt the meeting, and you got to.
Okay. So one of the police officers got smart with me, and as I was trying to turn in one of the guys, and the guy defended me. He said, "Oh, come on, man, she just trying to do her job. Don't disrespect her. Don't come off to her like that." And I was like, "Oh," and I thought that was just so sweet,
Was that your? So we dated. No, let me find out. You gotta watch it because you heard the stories about the folks that are. Now you gotta press the dial.
It was.
Now you gotta do it right.
It was trying to happen.
Yeah, you gotta press that. Now you gotta. That's what happens when just press decline. It's the new age of TV and cinema, y'all. This is when people try to get involved with the conversation when we're having a good conversation. But you probably heard, plus because you went into being a counselor, we'll talk about that too. But I know women who were counselors in prison or whatever, and end up marrying. And you talking to somebody? Tell them.
Sorry, yeah.
Just tell them.
I'm sorry.
You can say it.
He's
Say,
look.
I'm 40. I'm live.
One of my tenants is he's locked out.
Oh, did you give him? You gotta give him. You gotta leave and give him. You gotta go. You gotta give it to him. Give it to him. We'll start back over.
I'm sorry.
This is the reality when you're interviewing entrepreneurs. One of the things, if you read below, you'll see a little bit more about Jacqui Cummings. One of the things about Jacqui Cummings is she's a property owner in Baltimore. But we'll get into more of that in a bit. Another thing I like about Meet the Interviews is that, because we're going to keep this running. Another thing I like about Meet the Interviews. No, you're fine. Because I'm not even going to stop. I'm not going to stop. This is going to be totally, because we 90 deep. I'm not editing this. I want them to see this because this is a part of who she is.
Oh,
and
Lord.
If there are enough women watching that are going to want to know, and I'll bring you to speak to Top Team and some other things. There's enough women watching that are going to want to know about your balance. We're having fun now, and we're going to rock out for a bit, but impeccable balance. Okay, let's go back. Like I was saying, I know counselors, and I used to cut hair. It was Marvelous Cuts Barbershop. I remember being in there, and a lot of women in Baltimore were getting correctional officer jobs because a lot of the guys weren't passing drug tests. So you got all these women that became correctional officers in the 90s. And one of them was a lady named Stewart. Stewart, flat-footed, was 6'3". I can't even get my hands in the camera to do the bottom part. But she was, and one day I'm cutting her hair. Actually, I talked about this on TMZ because they were talking about this woman who was helped these guys escape. I don't know if you remember this. This woman helped these two prisoners escape. And they were talking about how she had this relationship. And I called on TMZ. I was like, yeah. And I told them about the steward in the barbershop. One day she was like, yeah, the guy said that if you can make it not so low on the sides and do this. And I was like, yeah, okay, boys got it. It's like, she only has a daughter. I was like, what guys, Stewart? I said, the guys I work with. And I was like, the correctional officers? She was like, no, the inmates. I turned my clippers off and said, you want to know how the inmates like your haircut? You don't think about that, but people get locked, the correctional officers, they go into work. And most of the guys will tell you, like Troy, when we go into work for 8 to 12 hours, once they lock those doors, we're locked in too. So if something happens, we're locked in a facility. So some of them got those institutionalized minds. So I was just making sure that you wasn't like, oh, you know what? Get out. Here's my card. Like, can you put it in the... So when did you decide that the bounty hunting wasn't for you? Did you enjoy bounty hunting?
I did to a certain extent till one of the owners of the service lied to us and got us in some really deep trouble. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I realized then that no, that was not the field for me. It was fun while I was young, and I was really successful at it, but it wasn't a safe life either. And I had just recently had a child. I had my first child, and my husband was doing it alongside with me to assure my safety. So we realized that no, this is not for us. The game is over and the fun is over. And I really wanted to get something that was a career path. And at that particular time, I was in my early 20s. and I really didn't know what I wanted to do anymore.
Mm.
So I started managing Carvel Ice Cream, and I was a cake designer, and I enjoyed that because it allowed me to be creative and artistic, and I love that. I've always been creative and artistic.
So how how far did it go before you, or I should say when? Okay, what was your? Did you get your degree from Morgan? Did you finish there?
Hmm. And let me see. I was in a pretty bad car accident with some friends, and when I was attending Morgan,
Mm.
so it stretched my stay a little at Morgan. So instead of doing 4 years, I did 5.5, and I earned my bachelor's in political science. I completed in '90 and graduated in the class of '91, and
Nice.
I earned my bachelor's of arts in political science. Yeah.
This is the part that's messing people up. They start to do the math. They're like, like what? So, so this is yes, yes. Um, so you got your bachelor's in political science. After you got your degree, what does that do? Because I remember I'm not a college grad, but I remember getting my high school degree and opening it up, changed my life because I was about to hit them streets hard. And I opened that degree up and I was like, man, if I can do this, what did that do for you? Because now you had your degree in hand. What did you want to do next?
I don't know.
So you went back to Carville?
I did not know. Yeah. And I managed Carvel and I enjoyed it. And I was deciding on what I wanted to do. And so I just kept that.
Plus, you were a young bride, so you got married while you went to college.
I got married when I was 22. Yes. I
Well,
got
we
married.
say young, but nowadays we say young because people are so career minded. Back in the day, you had 17, 18-year-olds getting married, getting hitched, and we've been together 85 years. He's like, how old are y'all? So let's fast forward a bit. I Tarantino the interviews a little bit. I jump around a little bit. I'm rocking because she's rocking now. Now because she's doing this, I'm getting all. Know how you get comfortable talking to somebody? It's like you're interviewing somebody. It's like,
Yes.
may be right for the position. So, what came first? Counseling, teaching? When did you get into that mode, or was that
So
later?
so actually I kind of stumbled upon teaching. I was always the kind of person growing up that I like to help. I was always a community advocate, a community leader. I would rally the little children on my street, and we would do block cleanups when I was in high school, and just different things. The man across the street worked for the sanitation department, so I asked him to get us brooms and dustpans and things like that. So he brought those in the big bags and we cleaned up. I got all of the little children together, and I would just do stuff like that. And it's so funny because as I listened to my friends who knew me back when I was younger in high school and stuff like that, and
They
they
start
know what
saying
I'm doing now, they're like, "Oh, I'm not
you're always
surprised."
doing that.
Yeah, you always into something, Jack. You always helping people, you know. But what I did was I had our first child and I
Mm.
worked, and I'm thankful that I had, a loving family. My mom helped take care of my oldest daughter and things like that, and I'm thankful. And my dad was always in my life, always there for me and things like that. And so when we got pregnant with our second child, who was, it was a desire to have two children. When we got pregnant with our second child, um, I I decided to be a stay-home mom. And when I became a stay-home mom, then I decided to volunteer at the oldest daughter's school,
Mm.
because now we had two children. One was 3, and we had a newborn. So the newborn, which was Aaron, and Aaliyah was the oldest. Uh, Aaron became the neighborhood, the classroom baby, the school baby. because she was nice and juicy and plump.
And
And
plump.
so,
Oh, look at that.
yes, people
That's
were
what
always like, and
she's
she
wearing
was,
around, y'all. She could eat any. We give her a cookie. You want a cookie? Oh my goodness, look.
yeah, that was her. They called her, what they called, I forgot what they
Munchy
called
cheese
her.
patch.
She was so plump and juicy, but she really was. And we thought that was going to be, she was going to stay that way, but no.
Yo, what's hilarious is that she gonna see this interview and be like, "Mom, why are you calling me plump and juicy on the?"
Oh,
She
she
was
was.
so
Both
plump.
of them were. Both of them were. Both of them were. My girls were just
Fluffy.
fluffy. I'll take that.
Cuddly and
Yes,
fluffy.
yes. So and they were sweet. They were nice girls. They're still nice girls. Nice adults. They're nice women. And so I volunteered at the school, and I just loved it. And then one day the teacher said, she asked a young man to draw a picture of a bear, and she
A bear.
wanted to do of a bear. And so the young man came back, and he had a card in his hand, and he gave her this like picture of a teddy bear that he drew. And my husband was standing right beside me as we were conversing with the teacher. And he said to the teacher, he said, "Why didn't you ask Jacqui to draw it?" And I just like, "Why are you saying this information?" And she said, and the teacher said, "I didn't know she said, "I didn't know Miss Cummings could draw." And he said, "Jacqui can draw anything." And I was like, "Oh, why is he opening a can of worms? Where's this going to? You know?" So I said, "Okay." And I was just quiet, being humble. And
You are
and
artist.
I do. I
Well, I
can
know
draw.
now. I know now. But see, I'm going through the story with you. I'm like, you were up. They didn't. No one knew you could draw.
No, nope. I was just being mom. I was just like helping wash the tables, feed the little 3-year-olds breakfast. I would
And you
fix.
never did a sketch for anybody while you were. You just was. Because that was the thing. My father would sit there. That's how I knew my father was an artist. And all of a sudden he would sketch or do something. I'm like,
In school, I would. Like when I was in high school, I won the most artistic female award. So in high school, a lot of people knew I drew. So and then through the years, I would do different things. My husband would work, and somebody would ask me to make a sign for them or something, like I would tinker with things, but I never really, got much into it. And I've been keeping up with my keeping a record of my drawings since 6th grade. So, and just compiled in a book. So anyway, she says, "I didn't know you could draw." And I said, "Well, okay, well, what would you like to do? What are you trying to do?" And she says, "I want to do a brown bear display." And I instantly, like, my whole insides was like, "Oh, I love this!"
everybody looking like,
No, like I was on the inside. I was going through that, like, yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna hook this up. I'm gonna hook it up. It's gonna be so fly. But outside, I was like, okay, I can do that.
now, when was the last time prior to that you had felt that feeling? You seem like a life, like, you got it. But we on camera, and this is a reserved interview. I was about to use other adjectives, but you seem like a boisterous, things. But when was the last time you felt that? Because I kind of want people, because some people may feel that about something and then quench it.
Well, I enjoyed doing. I was a cake designer at
And
Carvel.
you felt that when you were designing things, doing the
Mm-hmm.
cakes at Carvel. That's why you really
I
tied
loved
into.
it. Mm-hmm. I love
And I
being.
want you to hear that because somebody may be doing something that they think is just a job. And I always tell people, you can find a job around something you love. It may not be the thing,
Exactly.
but it should make you feel something you do. If you're creative, especially, something you do should make you feel like that.
Absolutely.
So you zap out, and how does this? So what she's saying is she started the whole teddy bear industry. No, no, no. What did it turn into? What did this project turn into?
So what happened was, I said, okay, I was real calm and everything. I said, okay, I'll need to go get supplies and I'll bring it back to you. And she said, okay, take your time. So I went
You're
and I
sophisticated.
got all of the colored paper that I needed. And if you're not familiar with the Brown Bear book, it's just like um, a bear, a brown bear, and it says it's a color book. It's a book for young children to learn colors. So it's brown bear. What do you see? I see a blue bird looking at me. I see a goldfish looking at me. I see a white bear, or different things looking at me. So what I did was I took every color paper for each animal, each character in the book, and I drew them exactly like they were in the book, and I made them large size, and I traced them out. They looked identical to the book because that's how I draw. And I made a whole display on the wall, and it drew so much attention that I just did it because if I put my time to doing something, I want it to represent me well. I want it to be nice. I want it to be classy. I want it to be professional. I want it to look nice. And I was in my early 20s. So being the having kind of OCD tendencies and that perfectionist,
You're sitting there with the pencil behind your ear with a T square, like.
I didn't even have to do all that. It was a gift. Anyway, but I did it. And what happened was when I put it up on the wall, the director of the center saw it. And when he saw it, they actually went back, checked my file, found out I had a college degree. And so they offered me a position as a lead teacher. And I said, no. I said, no, thank you. And they said, what? And so they kept asking me, we see you here all the time. We've been watching you. We see the way you engage with the children. You have a knack for this. We love your display. We want you to be a lead teacher. We opening a new center. I'm like, no, thanks. And I kept telling them no. So they stopped asking me. For a while, they stopped asking me. And then I started feeling condemnation. And I was like, okay, Lord, if this is where you want me to be, then the next time they ask me, if they should ask me again, I'll say okay. The next day. The next day. They asked
My hair started rising. I don't even have hairs on the back of my neck. I didn't think I did. My hair started rising on the back of my neck, like.
Yeah. The next day they asked me again, and I said, okay, I'll do it. And so they gave me their best assistant teacher, and her name happened to be Jacqui too. And we
Wow.
got along like two peas in a pod. I love working with Miss Jacqui. And so they would call her Miss Jacqui and me Miss Cummings. And we had a great time working together. We worked with students, and they would, when the students would be difficult, they would send students to my class. Now that's one thing about me. I always had excellent classroom management. I do not tolerate foolishness. We get things done in class. School is about learning. It's about having structure. It's about getting work done. So I'm gonna teach you. Now, if you're open to learning and you can follow my direction, we can play and we can have a good time while we're learning, but it's going to be by my direction, not by yours. I'm not having a 3-year-old run my class. I'm not having a fourth or fifth grader run my class. That's not happening. We're going to have fun, but we're going to have fun on my terms. Right. So that's how I ran.
This Miss Jacqui.
This was common. So it was so funny. So I taught his stuff for 3 years. 2.5 years. And then I had an issue with the supervisor. So the supervisor decided that, well, the laws changed. Now we had to be certified and get a different kind of credential.
Right.
So the supervisor only told us about one part of this credential that we needed to have. And so when she told us about that one part, we lost our jobs, myself and another teacher, lost our job at the end of the year because we didn't have the second part to that credential. But
Wow.
God is good. You know that saying, when one door closes, another door opens, another door opened. So what happened was I was making $12,000 a year.
Teaching?
$12,000 a year. When you do things from your heart, it's not about the money. It was from my heart. So I lost my position with that. I went to my oldest daughter now was in first grade. She was going to the first grade. I went to her school. I love her principal, a powerful, strong Black woman. And I love the way she walked into a room. Her presence commanded attention. I was like, I love her. I admired her so much. So I went to her and I talked to her and I told her what happened. And she told me what to do. She said, look here, honey. She said, you put on your best suit. She said, you put on a nice suit. Baltimore City is having a hiring fair at college. You put on your best suit. You get a resume. You put everything in a binder. You put your reference letters, your resume, your business card. Sorry. Do different
No, you
things.
good. Keep rocking.
Put them in a binder. And then when you and then go to that job fair sharp. And so that's what I did. Now, I'm going to have to pause you right here because I have another tenant at the door. I apologize. Please forgive me.
So right now you can get a cup of coffee, or if you're getting some breakfast or something to eat, because we're not stopping. I'm not going to stop for Jacqui because I want you to see this. Okay. So if you're just coming into the story so far, Jacqui Cummings goes from being a bounty hunter to a Carvel ice cream. For those that aren't familiar with the East Coast and Baltimore and different places, Carvel ice cream, I don't know if they have Carvel ice cream here. Carvel ice cream would be kind of equivalent to Baskin Robbins, but Carvel ice cream cakes, like I know everybody got ice cream cakes now, but Carvel ice cream cakes were fresh. You hear me? The ice cream was soft. I don't even eat dairy like that. Dairy will jack me up. But the ice cream was soft and the chocolate and stuff. So it was like a regular cake. And it had cake layers. It wasn't like these ice cream cakes now that some of them just have ice cream. It had cake layers in the ice cream. Carvel ice cream cakes was the joint. After hiding her artistic skills, she ends up getting exposed for her artistic skills, becomes a school teacher, and she came full circle. And now, now she's back. Here's Jacqui. I told him I'm not going to pause and edit this video up. It's going to be real time. This is real post-quarantine 2021. I don't usually date these, but we just came out of 2020 is a historic year. So, but I was just telling folks how you got to this point. Now you go to the job fair. You at the job fair.
So I go to the job fair at Poly, yes. And I'm not too familiar with the schools because my children are very young. So I go to this one school and the principal offers me the job. And I says, I'll think about it. I give her my folder. My folder is very impressive. Even to this day, and that was 1997. To this day, I still have that folder, one of the original folders, because I made several of them. And I keep it and I show to my students to say, be prepared. And it was nice too. But anyway.
See the hop.
So I take the folder and I go around and I check other schools, but I was really impressed with this one particular school. And then you know how we are. We hear somebody talking about something and it draws our attention to it even more. So I hear this one lady talking about this school, Belmont. And she says, I hope I get the position at Belmont. And I'm thinking, that's the position they offered me. I better hurry up and go back and accept that position. So I have to use the ladies' room. So I go towards the ladies' room, but the way towards the ladies' room is actually going towards leaving the building. So the principal comes up to me and says, are you leaving? Are you leaving without coming back to me? I said, no, I'm going to the ladies' room and then I'll be back. I'm coming back to accept your position. So I was like, okay. So then I get tricked, right? I'm totally bamboozled because I had experience with 3 to 5-year-olds. She hires me for a 5th grade position. Like, what? I don't know 5th grade school stuff. So I said, okay. But I don't know. I don't even know until I get to the school. Job fair is over. Everything's over. What am I supposed to do? If I go to headquarters, I might not get placement or I might get placed who knows where. So I take a deep breath and I accept the 5th grade position. You know, job fair is over, everything. A couple of weeks later, whatever. I accept my newfound position in this as a 5th grade teacher. And I just do the mommy thing. But it's so funny because I later found out that the students they placed in my class were very had behavioral issues. Well, this child has poor attendance. I'm like, what do you mean this child has poor attendance? He comes to school every single day. Not only does he come to school every day, he meets me at the top of the hill and chases my car and carries my books inside the building. What do you mean he has poor attendance? No, this child is a perfect attender. And what do you mean he fights? This child fights. I've seen this child hold his fist like this and hold back from beating the crap out of somebody. What do you mean this child fights? Now, Nikki, yeah, I know she cursed. I heard her curse the janitor out.
Nikki is crazy.
Woo! Nikki was a firecracker.
She a firecracker.
She a firecracker. But I loved her. And Michael did this. And Brian chased my car. And Tara, she was a firecracker too. But they were all 5th graders. I'm not letting a 5th grade child control my classroom or control me or set standards. No. So we did extremely well. We did things that were outside of the curriculum. I had them strip 2 wooden chairs, and redesign them and paint them. And I still had those chairs to this day. That was in 1997. We did a lot of different things. I took them, we had a motorhome, my husband and I had a motorhome. We took them out on an adventure at the end of the school year. And they loved it. And we took them to our house to watch movies because it started raining. So we couldn't go to Columbia to the lake to have a picnic there or have an outing there. We actually went to my house and watched movies, and the children just had an absolute ball.
Now, you talk about a time, and some people may be like, man, she was just doing phenomenal stuff. This is what I want to explain to people. Now, Jacqui Cummings is an amazing woman. She's doing amazing things. But it was pretty normal for some teachers to go the extra mile and women in the neighborhood to go the extra mile and look out for the, I think about Miss Bunny Cowser, and how she looked out for the whole neighborhood. She wasn't getting paid to babysit everybody. You know what I'm saying? And those are key things. So that, I take it that birthed the counseling thing. Because we could talk for a while. I want to talk about, and I'm gonna end up briefly. I want to talk about what you've been running away from us to do. Property ownership. How did you get into owning your own property, owning your own business?
So
I should say owning your own building. slash business?
So 2001, maybe, I started doing these little things at my house called Caleb's Cup. And I would invite friends over, we would do potluck, and we would just talk about everything we would vent. And we would laugh and just have a good time. So we started to rotate houses and do it at different people's house. And it was not successful. So I realized that this was something that God gave me a vision for. So I have to go through with, and I can't put it on other people.
Everybody else, right?
I can't expect people to have the same vision and do it the way that I do it. So I was, at this particular time, I was working on my master's degree in counseling at Hopkins, because through the teaching, I realized that in order for me to teach successfully, I had to counsel my students every morning before the teaching could begin, because of the drama and situations that they were going through at home. So by 2001, I was working on my master's at Hopkins, and the Lord just put in my spirit. I was coming home from Columbia. Now, I was either coming home from a class or I was coming home from my dad's house, because my dad and I were extremely close. And the Lord just put in my spirit, like, no, it's time for you to open your own business. And I was like, doing what? Like, wow, like, okay. So I talked to my best friend, who was a real estate agent, and I told her what I wanted to do. And I started to look at buildings and properties. And I really wanted this building on Harford Road. So I went downtown. I found out who the owner was. I called the owner. The owner told me flat out, no, the building's not for sale. I'm like, it's abandoned. You got trees growing through it. It's a wreck. I can fix it up and I can make it great. He's like, no, the building's not for sale. And I was sick. I mean, I made myself sick. I cried. I was like, but I want it. That kind of thing. And when God says no, accept no, So I got over it. And one day, my husband made me really upset. And I told my best friend, I said, I need to find a building ASAP, because I'm ready to move. At this point, I was fed up and it's time for a divorce. So I started looking for a building. I came across a building on 25th Street. We went to look at 5 buildings in a very heavy snow, after a very heavy snow. But I was just determined to make a change in my life. Right. And so I walked into this building on 25th Street. It was boarded up. It was rat infested. It was something or someone had recently died in there, and it was a mess. So we went through, but once we could get to the
or someone.
Yes, honey, it smelled that
all
bad.
All had is the smell of death.
Yeah, it was that bad, right? So once we were able to get past that back room, and see, this is how things are in our life sometimes. Once we got through the smell, once we got through all the trash and the mess that was at the back door, in the back room, in the back 2 rooms, once we got through that, the rest of the entire building was empty. It was completely clear. And see, sometimes God put things in our way things are put in our way to kind of hinder us, to try to see if we're going to fight our way through. And so I felt like this was, once I got through the mess, everything just opened up. So once I got through that mess of those 2 rooms and everything was completely clear and smooth sailing, I said, this is the building for me. Thank God I did not get that building on Harford Road, because shortly after that man told me no, there was a shooting and somebody died right on that same corner that I wanted that building.
Man called you back. You still want the place?
Right.
Like, no, you all right? No.
He didn't, but somebody did. And I was just like, no, it's God said no. So
was Caleb's Cup the birth of Notre Dame? Was that the same methodology, the same psyche? I want to open a place where people can gather and get together and things like that.
Yes. So as a teacher at that time, and I taught for 10 years. So as a teacher, I wanted to provide an opportunity for my students to write. So I would always tell my students to come. They would always get in free. I would give them tea and cheesecakes and desserts and everything, whatever they wanted, their parents, whatever they wanted, bring your children to read and to write. I encourage reading and writing. And then, and even in my classroom, we had, I grouped the students in little areas, and each area, each team had a poet's name. Lucille Clifton, Langston Hughes, just different poets. So they were very familiar with poetry. And so Notre Maison was birthed, and Notre Maison is French for our house, because I wanted people to come into an environment and feel very comfortable, like being at home. I wanted them to relax, wanted them to enjoy. And now, as a single woman, I wanted to be able to provide a space for other singles to feel safe and comfortable. I love playing pool. I'm not good at it, but I had 2 pool tables. And I wanted to be able to provide a place where women could come and play pool without, shooting that shot, taking that shot, but not having their whole chest exposed, where people are looking like, or bending over a pool table to make a shot, and people like, nice curves. And I would get that when I would go to pool halls, and I didn't like that. So it was providing an opportunity. And also in Notre Maison, we had strict rules, and that during poetry night, I know we grown and we sexy and all of that, but it's no profanity, no vulgarity. It's not acceptable.
Because her children were walking around. That was another thing. Your children, you own the building. I think, didn't you live upstairs at one point?
Right. We lived upstairs for 5 years. And my daughters, when I first moved there, our daughters were in elementary school. Erin served the tables and Aaliyah worked the door. And they were very serious about their business. They understood this was the business. The money was needed to pay the bills. And
actually, I got to stop you on this, because some people probably like, wait, Troy, didn't you say you had to? I think our event, Taboo Talk, was one of the first events that we had to organize it strictly for adults, because y'all know, if you know me and my Taboo Talk, you know how I talk. So it was a very adult event, but it was a very healing event, because the atmosphere, the atmosphere was crazy. The healing, the everything. It was dope. Now don't come up too close, because you got that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mind you being close, but
I apologize, because I'm gonna have to transition yet again. It's
no. We gotta go ahead.
I have to go open my daughter's store.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to make this a look at the art. Look at the art on the walls. I want y'all to see all the art and stuff in there. Look at this. Look at this. Well, this is gonna be part 1. So we're gonna have to do a part 2. But I wanted to make sure we took time. We got to do a part 2. So we're gonna do a part 2 of this. If you enjoy part 1, you got to see part 2. But go to Jacqui's page, Jacqui's information, and check out Notre Maison Connects, because we're gonna talk about that in the next piece. All right.
Sounds good.
And how far is your store? How far is your daughter's store from where you are?
Right downstairs. Go, Puda.
Oh. Oh, so you want us to go with you?
Well, guess what? We're here.
All right, now here's part 2. I'm gonna take about how much time you got? About 10 minutes?
No, I'm at work now, so I'm good. Take all the time you need. My boss lives in California, so as long as the shop is open, and let me flip this sign around.
Look at that, gorgeous! I love that greenery. Is that greenery on the ceiling?
Yes, honey.
Oh, that's so dope. how gorgeous that place is. Now, her daughter owns, for those that don't know, and you have to give me your daughter's name so I know the name of the shop and I can tag it in the information as well.
Okay.
This is in Baltimore. Now, remember we saying all this stuff? Everything that she's talking about, everything that's happening, everything you're seeing is in Baltimore, Maryland, the gorgeous Charm City. And what's the name of your daughter's shop again?
Calm Body Daily.
Calm Body Daily, and specialize in CBD.
Yes. Yes. Specialize in CBD. It's a smoke shop, so she sells different products. Yeah, that are CBD based and used for CBD. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So now you know. For those that do CBD and look for a spot, you got to support. All right. So I want to, because the story was getting juicy, and you was taking me away right to juiciness. It was getting juicy like your baby. So so look at that. Look at that background. Look at the greenery on the ceiling. Next time you see me, I'm gonna have greenery on my ceiling. It's like, what is that? Yeah. So we had one of our first major taboo talk event. We might have like 80 people up there. We actually had Vince. Remember Vince played that night?
Absolutely. He's still my sweetheart. What are you talking about? He got married in Mirepoix, France, and I was supposed to go. That's a whole nother story. And I really, really wanted to go, but it was too close to the school year and I couldn't make it. But yes, Vince and I are still in communication with each other. And I'm going to Mirepoix, France to visit him. I am. As soon as COVID is over.
I'm jealous.
Yes.
Yes, we had Vince. Those who don't know who Vince is, look him up. He was one of Sting's musicians. He's an amazing musician, amazing singer. The whole atmosphere was amazing, but the atmosphere, I wish I could take credit for it, but the atmosphere was already set by the spirit of Notre Dame's song. And it was just, but Jacqui was so easy to work with, especially because I'm like, Jacqui, this is raw and cut. We got to get very adult. She's like, okay. I don't know why she trusted me.
It wasn't on a poetry night. So on poetry night was reserved for children and families. Other than that, grown folks going to handle grown folks' business. And so if you're going to handle grown folks' business, that's right.
We had the massage room. Did we have a massage? We had a massage room. It was just amazing. But
yes.
That night we had such a breakthrough. Believe it or not, like you talk about you talked about a lot of breakthroughs in this interview in a short amount of time. That night we had one of the breakthroughs in knowing that me and Yonder looked at each other and said, okay, this is our calling. It's not just us having fun, letting people talk openly about sex, love, and relationships. This is our calling. Like a sister got healing and other people got healing from stuff they were dealing with for years in here. We was like, yo, this is our calling and this is how we want to do it and present it continuously where people feel like they can be open. But that birthed out of Notre Dame's song. I mean, we were already doing it, but Notre Dame's song was the platform that propelled us to the next level.
Awesome.
So by the time you saw me at the biker event doing it in front of 1,200 people, but that platformed off of Notre Dame's song. So thank you for that. And okay, so real estate. Let's fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
And then we get into your 501c3. So you own that building, and I remember talking to you about transitioning into co-working space, co-working space was everything pre-COVID. It was like, that was the joint. That was something dope to have. But how did you get into owning other real estate?
Well, so I was at Notre Maison since 2002, and around 2008 or something like that, Acorn Housing, which was right next door to me, crashed, and the building was vacant for a while, noticeably vacant for a while. And so my friend who helped me find Notre Maison, the building that is now known as Notre Maison, told me, she said, Jack, I saw somebody coming out of the Acorn building and I looked it up. It's for sale. Do you want it? And I was like, no.
You always start with no, Jackie.
Then I had to think about
yes in your life, bro. Yes.
I thought about it, right? And I thought about it, and I was like, oh, what am I gonna do with it? You know? So I said, let me think about it. Okay. I said, I haven't even been. I've been in the lobby, but I haven't been. I don't know what the building is about. So she made arrangements for me to go inside and look. And I looked. It was full of furniture. It was filthy. It was abandoned. So it was a disshuffled mess, very discombobulated. So, but I can see beyond that. And
Artists. I mean, it makes so much sense now how your
mhm.
place look and the layout is just gangster. So
So I told her, okay, I want it. And so what I did was I got it. I was supposed to get a $50,000 loan to do the work and the renovations in it, update the plumbing. There were 9 restrooms and only one of them worked. It was a mess. It was really, really a mess. So I was supposed to get a $50,000 loan. One of the companies that I was supposed to work with charged me $7,000 for an appraisal. They gave me an appraisal that looked something like this. It was a sheet of paper, one sheet of paper with some handwritten scribble on it, and told me that my appraisal was denied, that my loan was denied. And I said, you took $7,000 from me, and it almost cost me the building. So then I said, okay. I said, I'm gonna push forward anyway. I'm gonna push forward anyway. God didn't bring me this far to just give up. So I persevered, and I I went to settlement and purchased the building. I left the settlement table still needing that $50,000 worth of work with $3,000 in my bank account. $3,000. So I said, Lord, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do now? But okay, because I knew God got me. I knew that. So I said, okay. So I took my experience of don't quit, don't give up, and just paint and do what you can. I called my brothers. One of my brothers was the muscle guy. That was
knocking
Larry.
the
He
wall.
was the muscle guy.
Like stop
Yeah,
throwing.
he cleared out the building. I called one of my students. I paid him a little bit of money. We came in. I think I paid him like $80 a day. And we worked. This little boy didn't want to take lunch breaks or anything. We pulled up all the carpet. And this is two buildings joined, building 14 and 16. And I already had 18. So we pulled up all the carpet and just started clearing out one office at a time. And so I started, and my other brother, he was good with heating, plumbing, electrical, not certified in anything, but a tinkerer. See, we're tinkerers. So my brother, he did all of that he was good at it. He was good at it. So we got it. We got a couple of friends came over and helped, and we got the building. I was able to get my first tenant, and my mortgage payment starting out was more than what I made in 1 month working for Baltimore City Public Schools. It was more than what I bring home. So I was like, how am I gonna make this mortgage payment? And then I had to do what I did was I walked out on faith, and I did a hard money loan. So the interest rate, my credit score was in the sevens, but my interest rate on this hard money loan was 18%. So my mortgage payment was high.
Gangster.
It was oh. So we did that. I did that. And then my first tenant, I brought in, rented 4 offices. I gave it to him for almost half price, and that helped to pay more than half of the mortgage payment. So I could pay the other mortgage payment, and then I could fix up one office at a time. In one office at a time. There are 14 units in this building. And at that time, there were maybe 11, 12. Because one office we cleared out a complete floor that was clearly like, it was like a call center. So they had custom built cubicles bolted to the ground, to the floor. So my brother cleared all of that out. I came in one day and I was like, what the heck? Everything was clear. I was like, how did you do this? You know, and he's just standing in the middle of the floor.
I can
like,
tell you,
what?
let's just say, I don't know a nice way. The CH cleaning squad came in and probably helped him. he opened the back. He opened the back door.
So,
yeah, need me to move these Arlie? Earl.
Probably so. I'm telling you. He did tell me he got some help.
Yeah, got some of the guys around the way. No, you know, he's just saying, you know. Oh, Arlie, you know how much? Yeah.
Yes. So we doing one office at a time and able to bring in once I renovated one office, painted, laid carpet. I laid all the carpet throughout the building myself. Painted all the offices. Once I got one office fixed up, I will put a sign out in the window, say for rent. I would rent it, use that money to fix up the next office. And I took one office at a time, doing all the windows in the building, replacing all the doors until I had the building completely renovated. And it was a process. But in the first year, I spent $36,000 doing the renovations and a lot of sweat equity. I had the building reappraised like a year and a half later. It was appraised for $125,000 over what I paid for it. And I was able to refinance it and cut my payment almost in half, my monthly payment almost in half.
Remember that $50,000 loan they denied her for?
Right, exactly. So now
how many years have you had it now? Had the three building? Well, I guess you had Notre Maison for how long before you got this?
I had Notre Maison. I purchased Notre Maison 2002.
Okay.
And I paid for that. I paid $20,000 for that building. I'm giving everybody hope.
Here's what I'm saying. Now mind you, and you're just perfect for one, like I said, I don't like to date these, but this is Women's Month. We're coming off of International Women's Day. And somebody out there is watching this, talking about your freaking excuses. This sister stepped out post-divorce. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, she told you she was making 12 grand when she first started teaching, had to go through the whole thing. And she just had an idea and she pulled the trigger. She walked in faith and this, that, and other. I wish I could say her story is original. It's original to her. It's original to us hearing it. But you know how many people step out on faith every day? Okay, let me keep going. Because I can talk to you for hours. All right. Notre Maison Connects. When did you start? Well, it sounds like everything you were doing with previously was the foundation. When did you decide that you were going to do your own 501c3?
So remember that whole Vink story that I was telling you about?
Yeah. And she plays with her hair. I gotta hold on. Wait till I tell Yonda. It's like, yo.
So, like I said, I love Vinks. And we've always kept in touch and everything like that. So Vinks sent me an invitation to his wedding in France. And I wanted to go. I was so pumped. I was ready. But it was very close to the beginning of the school year. And at this time, I was a high school counselor, but the city had just cut a lot of counselors. They cut my supervisor. It was just very risky for me to go. So I had to miss the wedding. And I was so upset. My daughter Erin knew that I really wanted to go. So she says, Mom, I, I know you wanted to go to visit things and go to the wedding and everything, but since you can't go, we're going to go to St. Thomas. And I said, that's not France, but
This is all ready for France.
Right.
This is France week.
Right.
About.
So I said, okay, my love. Okay. I'm so thankful. Okay. Thank you. So sure enough, she booked our tickets, and my daughters take great care of me. I mean, they take excellent care of me. I'm so grateful. So she booked our tickets, made reservations for us to stay in Bluebeard Castle, and everything was great. So we went there. Beautiful beaches, beautiful. The water was so clear, you could put it in a water bottle and you would think you could drink it. I mean, it was just beautiful beaches and very, very nice people. Very nice people. Everybody was so humble. People didn't walk around with fancy pocketbooks and fancy belts, caring about anything.
And
Everything was
this is St. Thomas?
St. Thomas, yes. So we were supposed to leave on a Friday. And we went to the airport. Our plane was grounded. What? Why? Because Hurricane Irma and Maria, Hurricane Irma was in the air, and it was too unsafe to fly. It was unsafe. So we had to go back to our resort and stay another day. And then the next day we went back to the airport. Aaron is don't play with. You think I'm someone with business? Don't play with Aaron when it comes down to business. The owner of this shop, because I'm just mom. I'm here doing the mom thing. I'm supporting my daughter. But this is Aaron's shop, okay? Don't get it twisted. So do not play with Aaron C when it comes down to business. She cooks. She has her own lingerie line. She her fiance has his own clothing line. They just do it all. She's a motivational speaker. She just okay. And so Aaron got on the phone, and she said to them, she talked to them, and she got a seat, but it was the last single seat on the plane. Yeah, I can hear you. You can't hear me? Yes, you can, Troy. Stop playing.
Why would I stop? You were just in the midst of a good story. Hold on one
Can
second.
you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay.
Okay, unless somebody tried to call you. It's like, okay, go ahead. You look
Okay.
how many we're going on we're within our second hour.
Oh my gosh.
No. Keep going. I want to get all this because this is how Baltimore folks talk. You should see Wanda Draper's 90-minute interview. I love you, Wanda.
So we get to the airport the next day. I'm thinking maybe I can go on standby or something like that, but the airport is so small. There's no standby. So we're waiting, and the flight, one of the flight guys tells me, his name is Christopher. Chris. So Chris tells me, look, yes, blessing. Chris saved my life. Chris saved my life because he said, 6 people did not come to check in. 6 people have not checked in. In 10 minutes, I'm going to be able to print you a boarding pass and you can get on a plane to get out of here. Honey, within about 3 minutes, a family of 6 came running up to claim their seats. I was done. I was so upset. My heart just fell. So then I had to watch my daughter because she had to go to New Orleans to take care of some business in New Orleans and to meet her fiance. So I said, you take that plane because, I'm mom. I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to be good. I'm going to go back to the resort, get a room. I'm going to be good. But inside I was like, don't leave me. 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 Please don't leave me.
Guys, we're getting insight from how women act in the inside versus what we see on the outside. Because remember earlier it was like, now it was like, no, I'm good. You can leave. Don't leave No, I'm fine.
Right. So I was like, Mom, I always get these, Troy, my hugs, right? So I gave her my mom love hug. I was like, you go and be safe. Call me when you get to New Orleans. I'm gonna be good, go. And I'm gonna be all right.
No, you just you get the Denzel Washington look like.
Right, I'm gonna be good. So she goes and I watch my daughter fade into the crowd.
That's so sad.
And I'm like, looking back, it's like I didn't know if I was gonna survive this hurricane. I didn't know if she was gonna survive the hurricane being in the air. You know, it was a very scary time. But I walked away. I walked away after she disappeared, and I went to the curb, and I was like, Lord, I don't even know where I'm gonna go. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I just stood there on the sidewalk because St. Thomas Airport is so small. The checkout counter is here, and the sidewalk is right here, right? So I just stood there, and I said, and the guy Chris, he comes bouncing up to me. He says, "Hey, you want me to call you a safari?" And I was like, "A safari is like an open bus. It's almost like a cab. It's real cool. It's really like the open back of a pickup truck with seats
right,
and a
right. See, they got them here. They got them here in Los Angeles. They do tours with them.
right. So I said, he's on this side. I look this way. I don't even know. I didn't want him to see. I gotta stay strong, right? I didn't want him to see me cry. I said, I don't even know where I'm going. He said, "Don't cry. Don't cry." He says,
No woman, no cry.
right. He says, "I tell you what to do." So he told me to go in the back. He said, everybody who checks in doesn't show up. He said, somebody come late, I'm gonna give you their seat. He said, somebody don't come, I'm gonna give you their seat. So when I ran in the back, and everywhere Chris moved, I moved.
I know that's right.
You hear me? Everywhere he moved, I moved. When I saw Chris look like this, I said, and he said, "Come in." So I ran up, he gave me a ticket, I got on the plane. And when I was leaving, I was so thankful. But through my teary eyes, I could see this place was about to be destroyed. And I left the island and I called back when the hurricane hit, Irma hit, Maria hit, so much devastation. And I decided that I really wanted to help. I looked at the resort we stayed in and I just instantly cried because of the devastation and so much devastation that was done. I called them. They said they would probably not be open for about 2 years because it was that much damage done to the resort. And I wanted to give back. So it really took me a couple of months to find out the best way I, as an individual, could give back. So I said, okay, as an educator, if I adopt a daycare center, then that helps the daycare provider rebuild that daycare center. Even if I send a manipulative a month, uh, send some curtains, send something, then I'm helping. And that has an impact on all the children that comes through those doors for years. And that is going to support the family and strengthen the communities. I'm going to adopt a daycare center. So then what I did was I ordered these little boxes from Amazon. And I put pictures here. I turned it into a service learning hours project for my students at school. They were doing information and research on the damages to the hurricane, the damage that the hurricane did to the island, and things like that. And when I started doing this, and I started telling people about it, people said, "I want to help. Like, I really want to help. How can I get involved?" And so people started to donate $250, $375, $320. Money started to come in. So I went to my accountant and I was like, "Look here, I'm not trying to get in trouble. People are really sending money.
I don't want to be audited. I don't know what to do with all of this newfound stuff. I mean, I know what I wanted to do, how I could help the sinners, but I wanted to do it right. So he said, Jay, he said, this is going to be bigger than you think it is. And I said, okay. He said, I'm going to set you up with a 501c3. And I'm like, okay. So almost 3 years later, we have a full 501c3 nonprofit organization. I came up with the idea. I finalized my idea in March. In April, we applied for the 501c3. We were approved in May. June, we were on the island fixing our first daycare center. Home Depot is our largest sponsor. And we were back in July. And we revitalized a child care center. And to this day, we are still in communication. She checks on me. I check on her. Our organization sends them money for Christmas gifts. And she sends us Christmas pictures and just different things like that. It's a love relationship. And she got this plaque made that says this center was adopted by Nurturing So Connects. I mean, I'm sorry. when I see that, when I see how when I see how the things that I do affect other people, and I'm just doing things out of the kindness of my heart, and how it really affects other people and improves their quality of life, it just brings so much joy to my heart. Yeah. I'm just thankful that I have a team of people who work with me. We're still learning. We're still growing. I'm a people person. I'm not a 501c3 person. But we're still learning and we're growing and we're doing great things. Before COVID, we did our second center. Home Depot was still our sponsor, and discount car rental on the island provided transportation. They provide our transportation so we can get around. Yeah. And now we have a greater youth initiative. And the greater youth initiative, we work with local young people, 18 to 21. And we pay for them to go to driving school. We pay for that CPR first aid certification. We teach them financial literacy, resume writing skills, career readiness. We connect. It's called Notre Maison Connects. So we connect with other companies and other people to teach these young people and to make them more employable and better, more successful, productive members of society. And so we connect with another organization that provides free career training. So they have like 15 options of career paths to go through and get certified with free training. And one of our other sponsors pays for students to get their CDLs and then he hires them for his trucking company. And we also work with a company that provides PRP mental health services for our young people. So
here's what I want people to really, I mean, like I said at the beginning of this, almost, this is every bit of this. I don't know which part I'm gonna use for the IG snippet, but every bit of this is necessary. But at the very beginning of this, I said, I talked about how gorgeous she was inside and out. Here's the gangster part of how awesome God is, and gangster in a good term, I'm just using it. If you had made the first flight, you would never have been in a position to feel and learn the empathy of the very people that had no choice but to stay at their home.
Right.
If you hadn't got on the flight you got on, you wouldn't have been able to look out the windows and see the black or the gray or the storm looking or the energy of that feeling, and then be able to look back at the place you stayed. And in less than a day, like if you had went back to the resort and decided to do another day, but because you settled in, it was like God uses every and anything. And you've seen that throughout the course of your life. Hearing this entirety of the story, 95% of the story, which I did not know. That's why I love doing these interviews. And if I'm moved by it, I know this is going to bless women and men. You got to pay attention to all the signs. It may not be as steep of a sign as, well, there's a hurricane coming, there's a storm coming. But to be able to be open as God led you, that's pretty dope. It's pretty amazing. So, what's your biggest desire before we get out of here? What's your biggest desire now in this new dispensation of time for Notre Maison? What would you like to accomplish in the next 2 to 5 years?
I would like to, right now, our first group of students, we had 2 students. The group we have now, we have 6. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes kids bring about other issues.
You almost had me breaking down. Like, okay.
We had 2 students in our first cohort. We have 6 students in our current cohort. I would love to see us get to the point where we have at least 3 16-passenger vans, and we have the ability to be able to work with so many students that we can take them to New York for cultural experiences, in DC to museums, out to dinner, out to expose them to different things. When we did our first center, we took one young person with us, and that was an extraordinary experience for him. And he wound up earning an award for having the most service learning hours in his school. But it was quite an experience that he'll never forget, as he worked with us to help paint the daycare center and to help do work in the daycare center in St. Thomas. So I would love to see us grow where we can service more students, more young people, 18 to 21 here, and also help them with more adulting skills, because that's what we're doing. We're helping them with becoming respectful, responsible, reliable adults who are much more employable, and also helping them get their own housing. It would be lovely to be able to help a child set up their own apartment. And we hold them accountable. It's not just give. We hold them accountable. It's a point system. You start in with a certain amount of points. You come late, you don't call, you don't be responsible, you lose points.
Yes.
You're gonna want to pay for your own driver's school, you know.
Right.
If you do well, you go above and beyond. We're trying to instill these, you get rewarded. Maybe you'll get a certificate. Maybe you'll get the bonus. Maybe you'll get lunch, different things to encourage them to always do their best. And we're also planning to go to Haiti this summer to work with another nonprofit to work on daycare centers in Haiti.
All right. Like I say, Jacqui, I could talk to you for hours. Give everybody the information on how to get in touch and how to give and be a blessing to Notre Maison Connects and everything that you are doing.
My name is Jacqui, Jacqui Cummings, and I am in Baltimore. I love Baltimore, and you're right, it is Charm City. Um, our website is nmconnects, like Notre Maison Connects.org. You can see all of the pictures and all of the work we do on our website there. My email is NotreMaisonConnects@gmail.com.
And
And
you can spell it for them, but they'll also see it below. So I'll make sure I have all that in there.
and you said spell it?
You can spell it so they know how to spell it. Maison.
It's NotreMaisonConnects@gmail.com. And that's for information that, that comes directly to me. But we also have our information at info@NotreMaisonConnects.org. That's for other things. But if you want to get in contact with me, or you can call me directly at 410-235-5222.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Jacqui, for taking time out and taking us on a tour, a small tour of building number 1, right? Is this Notre Maison building? Which building is it?
So that's real funny you should ask that. When we started and I was in my office where all the artwork was, that's building 14. Right now, I'm in building 16. So 14 and 16 are joined. And Notre Maison, the original Notre Maison Tea House, is in building 18. So we have 14, 16, and 18. And within those 3 buildings are 22 Black-owned spaces and 26 Black-owned businesses.
Jacqui Cummings. Jacqui Cummings. Strong J girl. Oh, amazing. Amazing. Thank you, girl.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, Troy.
Anytime. Anytime you want to come on and talk about something, I make time for you. I told like think about an hour. Something told me this is going to be a 90-minute episode, so it's worth the watch. You're worth it all. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you in a hot minute.
It's true. I owe you dinner the next time I come to LA.
Don't get me. You almost caught me on video saying what I was about to say. She came to LA. She came to LA recently twice. We're gonna talk about that off camera. Oh, cold-blooded, boy. Cold-blooded. Shout out to the family. Thank you, Jacqui. Love you, girl.
Love you too.